Available internationally now after a successful theatrical run in Korea is the Roundup, the sequel to the 2017 action film The Outlaws. Starring the awesome Dong-seok, is this a film you must watch? Hi, I'm the Artie Dans from Asian Film Fans, and let's check out the reasons you should or shouldn't watch this film. Detective Ma, the Beast Cop, and his captain travelled to Vietnam to repatriate a criminal who has mysteriously turned himself in. But Detective Ma is not buying the suspect's newly found guilt, and after a vigorous and humorous interrogation scene, Ma and his captain find themselves in the middle of a kidnapping and murder case involving a dangerous Korean-Chinese criminal and a list of missing Korean tourists. After causing a bit of chaos in Vietnam, including a rather entertaining knife fight in the killer's apartment, they travel back to Korea after discovering the killer has also returned to get his revenge on a wealthy businessman who sent a gang of useless mercenaries to kill him. Vietnam might not have been big enough for the Beast Cop, but he's more than at home in Korea, where he has to work against the clock to stop the killer from killing the businessman, taking his money, and escaping to China on a leaky boat captained by a one-eyed seaman. There are a few good reasons why an action junkie would love to watch this movie, and it comes down to a few key action scenes that are well presented, well choreographed, and entertaining to watch. There are no gunfights in this movie, well, with the exception of the captain firing a snub-nosed gun a few times, but that's not counted. What we have here is a lot of hand-to-hand and knife-on-knife action. There are some standout scenes, and be warned, there's going to be a few spoilers here, so proceed with some caution. Without a doubt, the fight I enjoyed the most occurred in Vietnam in the killer's apartment. There's a fantastic one-take shot involving the killer that flows for about a minute with no cuts. When it comes to modern action movies, part of the real annoyance with them, especially the more Western titles, is the over-editing of fighting scenes. We don't need 3 cuts to see one punch being thrown. That's not exciting. In fact, it's the opposite. It's trying to mask the fact the fight is boring. Not so much here. The scuffle goes on from the living area to the kitchen. Knives are flung and stabbed, pots and pans are used, and a bit of furniture is destroyed. And all of this happens in one take. It's a great effort from both actors and the cameraman, who knows where to go during the fight and never gets in the way. Nor does his movement hinder the action. The actors don't wait for the cameraman to get in position before they hit each other, it just flows and it's exciting for it. Now, if you're still watching this video after my spoiler warning, then be prepared because I'm about to talk about a fight that happens at the end of the film. I'll give you 3 seconds to skip ahead. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you're still here. Let's talk about that finale on the bus. Now that's cool. That's an awesome way to end the film. From being thrown around the bus, smashing up seats and smacking heads into hand poles, to then being actually thrown through the bus windshield. Beast Cop really gets to show off his aggression in this scene, but delivered with such a cheeky smile and the persona we've come to expect from Dong-seok. Sorry, I refuse to call him Don Lee, even if that's closer to his real name. But then the movie ends with one of the best things I've ever seen in a film, and that I won't spoil. This one is worth seeing yourself. On top of the great action scenes, this movie also has something Korean action films are good for: comedy. There are some chuckle-worthy scenes in this film. It's not a belly-laughing type of film. You won't be rolling around the floor laughing, or ROFL, remember that acronym? From the opening scene where Beast Cop accidentally knocks over the noodle shelving, alerting the crim he's trying to catch, to the interrogation scene in Vietnam, the escalator scene in the department store, and the scene with the Chinese women trying to buy wedding licenses. There is a nice sprinkle of humour added into the film to just make it that little bit more approachable. And finally, the movie's rather simple to follow. In fact, it's really simple to follow, and I feel you don't need to have watched the first film in order to get the most from this one. Detective Ma, aka Beast Cop, is a pretty easy to like character, and I don't feel you miss much if you haven't seen the first film. It's established pretty early on that he is no nonsense and gets things done rather quickly. Also, the fact he seems to cause controversy in the media with his approach. For first timers, this is enough to let you know that when the stuff hits the fan later in the movie, that he will take an action first, questions later approach. With the good comes the bad though, but there isn't anything that I could consider bad enough in this film that you'd want to avoid it. If anything, the story is maybe too simplistic. There's not much backstory or character development here given for the main killer of the film. We're just told in a few scenes that he's a rather unsavory person, and we can see from a few early on scenes in the film that he prefers violence over conversation. Maybe there isn't much more to know about him. Also, unlike the first film, this one doesn't seem to be based on a true story. If that's your thing, this might be considered a negative. Personally, that doesn't bother me at all. Overall, this is a bloody great film, and I think you'd be crazy to avoid it. In regards to action, I'd award this movie a solid 4 out of 5. The action is almost all hand to hand and knife on knife, so if that's your thing, then you're well taken care of. Some of the fighting looks a little awkward, as it seems so odd to watch skinny guys telegraph an air punch against the man mountain that is Dong-seok, but it is what it is. The car chase scene could have been more exciting than it was too, with really not enough action or excitement when you consider the point of the movie when it occurs. In regards to storyline, I'd award this film 3 stars out of 5. It's simple and easy to follow, and while it may have a massive plot hole, such as how the hell does the killer get from Vietnam to Korea so quickly, we can forgive that since it's about the only really silly bit. And in regards to excitement, I'd award the film 4 stars. I was riding all the action in this film and laughing along with the humorous moments. At just over 100 minutes, it's a great length that gives you enough time to take a breath before the next action piece. They're not really big set pieces, but they are rather fun. Overall then, I'd award this movie a solid 4 stars. This is the type of film I love from Korea. An exciting action comedy with a light enough story to follow and an awesome cast of characters, both good and bad guys. It might be just another standard Korean action flick, but at least it's a damn good one. If you've seen the Roundup, also known as The Outlaws 2, what did you think of it? Thank you for watching this video. Please press like if you enjoyed it and subscribe to Asian Film Fans for more action news, trailers and reviews.